Welcome back to a new video. I know I haven't made a video in a while, and my hope was to have a really big, great Friday to post. And honestly, don't really have one because it didn't really go that great. So I did my big Friday this last Friday, or I guess yesterday when I'm recording the audio for this. And I was able to get up to a 130 snatch, and it was all pressed out and ugly looking. But I was able to do that. I clocked 133 after. Then for clean jerks, I was only able to get up to 145 and was able to clean 155, but didn't have any juice left for the jerk. And it's kind of been a common theme with a lot of my training lately is once I get up to heavy clean jerks, my jerks just don't feel like they're there. And that's one of the reasons I try to add it in myself to try to get more work in the jerk in, because usually they go better when I do heavy jerks more frequently, or at least push up to a difficult set of them, because things like push presses and overhead press are great, but you also have to have that specific training to get better at that movement. And that was probably my biggest gripe the last time I did the AI programming, and my biggest gripe now is that it just didn't program jerks very effectively, and I lost strength in the jerk. I felt like I didn't feel very consistent above 145 kilos, honestly, within the jerk. Now for most of the other movements, I felt really great. Push presses went great, like overhead press, but jerks just weren't there. And a big part of that was just it wasn't programmed. Like heavy jerks or front squat jerks or clean front squat jerks were just never part of the program. And it could just be the way my numbers looked. It just didn't seem that the system would want to put it in. But I think the biggest flaw in the system as far as clean jerks go, because I think it does a good job at squats and pulls and presses and stuff like that, but when you do clean jerks, it treats the movement as one full movement, which, you know, it is, but if you miss a clean, that's a lot different than missing a jerk. And for me, I always miss jerks, especially above a certain weight. That's when, you know, above like 145 or 150 kilos is when jerks become very inconsistent and very difficult, and the cleans aren't. I doubled like a 155 clean, or cleaned 160 from just about every position, but jerks are very difficult. I'm not going to jerk 160 on any day of the week, but I know I could get up to 160 pretty much in a clean almost every day of the week. But I know like my jerk could be 160 one day, or it could be 140 one day, and it's very inconsistent. And that's something the program wasn't able to really identify and attack, because that certainly would be a weakness that, or at least when I'm doing my own programming, which kind of a spoiler for the end, but I'm going to be doing my own programming even after I get back from Florida. For a big reason for that is that I kind of want to attack my weaknesses more, which is jerks. Like I want to focus on just a lot of the normal training, so it's not as if all my training is going to go crazy and you're watching this video. It's a lot of, you know, normal stuff: snatch doubles, clean front squat jerk, back squats, pulls, like a lot of normal stuff. But I want to be able to have days where I really work on my weaknesses. And even in this workout, like snatch doubles are something I'm not good at. That's something the AI gave a lot of, so that's something that was the reason why my snatches went well. But for clean jerks, like I didn't do a single clean front squat jerk in the entire program. And I think for me, especially if I'm preparing for a competition, that's a really good movement for me to do, because it gives me a ton of confidence in the clean jerk. If I do like a clean front squat jerk with like 150 kilos, I feel extremely confident with just doing a clean jerk with that weight, because when I do the clean and, you know, I'm holding the weight, it feels so much easier to do the jerk if, you know, the previous week I did a clean front squat jerk with that same weight, and just never had that in the program. I never had jerk specific work, or like front squat plus jerk, things that I think are really good for me because I'm not good at doing those movements, to be able to practice doing them. So stuff like that is stuff I want to add in. I didn't have like front squat plus jerk or jerk out of the rack in this particular workout, but I did have clean front squat and jerks. And the way that I kind of did my snatches and clean jerks, or how I'm going to do them, probably I don't want to put a for sure, but like I felt really good after this session, and I felt like I moved really consistently, and I didn't feel like I did too much volume in the movements. Like I was able to still push pretty hard in the squat and the pulls, so it was kind of like a good balance between everything, where I felt like I did a lot of good work in the snatch, a lot of good work in the clean jerk, and still was, you know, able to do work in the strength movements. And basically I just did waves. I kind of, in my mind, I'm thinking them as the Kazakh, how Ilya describes them as attacks. Like you have, you know, 3 or whatever amount that I decide of attacks to push up to a certain weight. And for me, I'm not really, I mean, like I guess a miss would be one reason to drop down, but I'm kind of treating it, hopefully not missing as much as Ilya would in a lot of his training videos, but to get up to a weight that feels difficult and then drop back down to a weight that's really easy. So in this session, it was 90 kilos was kind of like the baseline weight. Did the double at 90, went up to 100, 110. 110 felt a little difficult, so I dropped back down to 90. And there's really two good reasons that waves are good. One, you get to develop the confidence because you go down to a weight you know you can do. And when you go down to that weight that you know you can do, you can move it faster, more efficiently, and you just feel, at least in my case, I feel like I moved really snappy with like 90 kilos. So then you get really confident to move back up, and then hopefully the next time you push up, it goes a little bit better. And I feel like the second wave definitely went better than the first, but even after that, like when I did the third wave, I only went up to 100 on the third wave. But I felt like I was moving really well. I just felt like I just was kind of fatigued at that point. And then I kind of, like I could have pushed up to 110 again, but in my mind, I was like, I don't want to go too hard in snatches because I want to be able to do, 3 other movements. So it's kind of nice to kind of have that in the back of my mind because I'm not going all out on snatches and then I'm gassed for everything else. So I kind of get that good work in, like 2 doubles at 110, 3 doubles at 190. So I mean, like, pretty decent amount of volume in the snatch. And then for clean jerks, I knew I wasn't going to be able to do quite as much waves just because it's a generally harder movement, but I was also doing a complex of the clean front squat jerk, which I think was going to be something that I want to be a staple of my program. I always feel like my clean jerks go the best when I have that in. Not only do I get the extra work in a literal front squat, which is always good for me, but it makes the jerk feel more difficult, which is good for me with a lighter weight because then I'm not worried about the heavier load. I'm doing a clean jerk with 130, which is a weight I should be able to do no matter how fatigued my legs are, and I kind of get that that pseudo fatigued of a heavier weight. So I do enjoy that, even though it's a difficult movement. I think it's an important one for me to do. I know later in the week I've tentatively planned to do a front squat jerk or to do some jerks out of the rack as well. So on different days, depending on how I want to structure things, there'll be kind of not necessarily waves every single day, but at least some of the days to have some snatch and clean jerk waves, and have some days where I'm doing front squats and pulls. A lot of kind of normal training, but a lot of the kind of like special exercises will be more targeted to things that I think I need to do, which aren't really that difficult to analyze. I mean, a lot of people point out, your left shoulder's this. Like I see that all the time, and know there's ways to continue to work on that. One of the ways is with these snatch waves or clean jerk waves is when it feels difficult. Usually that means that my shoulders are looking less stable. So then you drop the weight back down to where it feels easier. Everything feels more locked in, and then you kind of reinforce correct positions. So then when you push back up, it feels good. And I think that was something that held true today. Like I didn't feel like I was doing any sort of crazy press outs and anything like that, like what I've been seeing with like 125 plus snatches. So hopefully as I reinforce that and as I push heavier on these waves, the weights continue to look and feel better and better. And same with like clean jerks. And that's something in the past that's always been, a benefit. The big issue that I would get into with my own programming is that I would just end up just doing lots of just maximal lifts and not a lot of volume, and just kind of get into, the fun lifting and not a lot of the hard and volume lifting. And I do want to get back into that. And this was kind of like a precursor, and hopefully in subsequent sessions, I do more strength work volume. I will say after the pulls, I did do some pull downs, but not really a ton of them. I think it was just 2 sets of 10. But one of the goals I have is just to do more volume in general. I think that's something that AI was good at as far as like squat volume. I always felt like my legs were getting stronger, and so I kind of want to continue that momentum and just kind of push with that. I know that it's going to take a little bit of time to kind of get back to that, and maybe a little tricky with the Florida trip. But I think I did a pretty good job today of actually doing a little bit of squat volume. It looked really weird, but I did a pretty good amount. And pulls, I kind of just get away with doing whatever I want with pulls as long as they're moving effectively. I don't need a ton of volume with them, but it's still fun to do. So I know I'm going to be able to get volume in with them. But like sessions like this, I think are going to be the norm for the next little while, and hopefully as I get a bit stronger and a bit more stable overhead, the weights start to move in a correct direction. I don't know how much I will continue to do like the big Fridays. I think I'll kind of treat the big Fridays as, instead of doing like snatch waves, I'll just go up once. So it'll just be like, one attack. But I'll hopefully will have those sessions, but I want to treat them much more less like a true max out, where I'm pressing out and doing all these crazy things to try to get a lift, and more of it has to be like a perfect lift to increase, and kind of treating it more conservatively. I think that will bode well for me progressing into the future throughout this year. So hopefully I'll start the year on a good note. I know this workout felt really good. I don't think I'm going to work out on Christmas Day because it is about 12:30 when I'm recording this, and I do have to drive home, which is going to be a little bit sketch because I have to figure out with my car rental, which I still have because my car hasn't been fixed yet. I had to figure out my tire situation because it says my tires are low, but there's no way to check it within the car, which is a really neat feature of a new car. It doesn't tell you what your tire pressure is, it just tells you it's low. So I had to figure out that because I went to a pump and air pump and it just wasn't working. But anywho, I'm getting a little sidetracked. If you made it this far, I do appreciate it, and I do apologize for not editing stuff. One of the reasons for that was I was hoping to relax more and again lead to a really good big Friday. Fortunately, it just didn't work out like that, but sometimes that's just how it is. And I'm gonna go back to my own programming and hopefully get super big. Oh, that's the other thing too, it's sleep is always something I'm trying to work on, but I'm really gonna try to work hard at gaining weight. I was 229 the day after the big Friday, so just under 105 kilos, and that's just too light. Like if I want to actually like push these heavier numbers, like I just have to actually be gaining weight. So really focusing or will be focusing on trying to eat a lot, which is obviously easy to do during the holidays, but also just trying to drink a ton of water as well, because I think that's something I just don't do as well as I could have. But anywho, I do apologize for this longer video. I haven't edited the video yet, so I don't know how much black space will be at the end. If there's a ton, I do apologize, but yeah, I've tried to do this commentary now 3 or 4 times, so I'm just going to stick with this one because I got out all my thoughts, and at least in my mind it seems pretty semi-coherent. So hopefully you all have a good winter or a winter break if you're a teacher like me, or a Christmas if you are not. I guess everyone has a Christmas. Sorry, it's late and I'm rambling. Have a good Christmas, everyone, and a New Year's. If I don't get another video out till then, I hopefully will have a couple of videos before I go to Florida, and then some videos when I get back from Florida as the new year is past, but we'll see. Talk to you all in the next one. Hopefully you all have a great day and a great Christmas, and yeah, talk to you in the next one. Peace.